good people. I'm Dr. L. Brown.
And I'm Ricky too.
And today we're going to talk about managing meltdowns. Ricky too will remember some of this, but probably not all of it. So I'm going to
Maybe I might remember, but not really.
Maybe, but not really. Well, let's see. Okay, so when you were a toddler,
like a little tiny toddler.
A little tiny toddler. Well, like a little tiny toddler. When we would get ready to go out, or we would get ready to do things,
or leave, or something
doing any type of transition, Ricky too would sometimes
throw a fit, or
I guess you can call it throw a fit, have a meltdown. Your emotions got really big,
or have a tantrum.
Yeah, I guess some people could call it a tantrum, but tantrums aren't necessarily people think of tantrums as negative, but one thing about tantrums, children generally do have tantrums with people they trust. So if you act out like that with all of those big emotions around me, it told me that you trust me. Yeah. In addition to that, one of the things that I noticed right away was that it seemed as though he would work himself up to a point that it would be challenging to bring yourself back down. So might be moving from one activity to the other, and you just get so worked up.
What does bring myself back down mean?
Like self-regulate. Like if I'm really upset, I can be like, but I can't stay in that space. I need to be able to bring myself back to a calm,
like I see you sometimes when you're driving and feel stressed, you breathe.
Exactly. That's self-regulation. So what he's saying is that sometimes I get anxious or I get stressed, and he can always tell because generally I'll exhale and I'll go like, and he knows to say, he now has trained himself to say, "What's wrong, Mom?" And I'll say, "Oh, I just have a lot on my mind," and that's me regulating myself to calm myself down. And he's learned that. Well, when he was young, he was not yet able to calm himself, and he does a very good job of doing it now. However, at the time, not so much, because you were a little guy. Yeah. So I had to come up with a strategy to help us with our date, because at the time, it was just me and Ricky two in the house. He was young. My ex-husband was in Iraq, so
What's Iraq?
Iraq is a place in the Middle East where your dad was deployed when he was being a soldier at war.
Oh, okay.
And that year we were by ourselves in California.
Oh, okay.
So with that, I had to find a way to mitigate these meltdowns, because I really needed to, be able to have the strength to go through the day. And not only were they high emotions for him, but they would then make me anxious as well as a mom. So I kind of said, well, I have an opinion as a person, as an adult, that I have emotions, and I'm entitled to any emotion that I'm feeling. Like if I'm angry, I'm entitled to be angry. I'm not entitled to hurt other people, but I'm entitled to be angry. If I'm happy, I'm entitled to be happy. If I'm sad, I'm entitled to be sad. These are my emotions, and I'm entitled to them. And I felt that way because as a child, I would often have to suppress my emotions because I didn't feel like I was necessarily safe.
Like I would say, because that's why in public you gotta calm yourself down when you feel anxious or very entitled, because sometimes when you do like a meltdown in public, it can lead to very embarrassing factors.
Yeah, it can lead to embarrassing factors. And as a Black person, it can also lead to danger too. Because somebody could misinterpret those emotions and say it's a threat.
Yeah, it's a threat or harm.
Yeah, and then do something that could put us in harm. So self-regulation is important for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
Now with that, I also wanted you to feel that you were entitled to your emotions. You were entitled to be frustrated if you were frustrated. You were entitled to be angry if you were angry. You were entitled to be sad if you were sad. Whatever emotion you were feeling, annoyed, you were entitled to all of those. But I also wanted to get you to the point where you could bring yourself back down. So what I did was a strategy that I call reset time. Now, as an educator, I don't believe in time out. Because I feel as though I have strategies to assist me in behavior management.
I'm thinking I'm in class for some reason.
So what do you want to say?
And sometimes if we feel very stressed about something, it can be hard to sleep.
It can be hard to sleep. Exactly.
Like let's imagine if you made like a project, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden there's something like there's like a big error in your project, right? That I just like really want to fix for way too late. You might be so mad to sleep. You're so disappointed because you can't stop thinking about that error. Right.
And that's like your emotions are getting the better of you at that point. So again, that self-regulation, that ability to, control oneself, that's another way. If you have strategies to calm down, whether it's drink tea, whether it's count, whether it's cuddle with mom, whatever you do to bring yourself down, that'll then put you in a space where you could actually have a good night's sleep. So that's one of the reasons why it's important to be able to regulate one's emotions. Yeah. So with that, whenever your emotions would get really, really high, again, I didn't believe in the time out, but I did kind of take something from it. And the reason why I don't believe in time out to me does not teach children.
What is time out?
Time out is like when
like sitting out.
Yeah, when somebody's like doing something that someone else deems inappropriate, they'll have a child like sit somewhere.
But usually in the corner facing the wall.
Well, I would hope not, but perhaps some people do that. But it's just a space, putting a child in a space so that I don't know, they can calm down or what have you, whatever the person's reasons are. But the reason why timeout is sometimes a part of parenting, it actually is not for the child. Timeout is more of a child abuse prevention strategy. So it's like adults need time to breathe. So it's better to place a child in a situation where, you've separated yourself or you've put the child here and you've had an opportunity as an adult to regulate your feelings and kind of get out of that space before you make a decision that's potentially detrimental to a child. So that's where timeout has its purpose. It's more for adults, so they can have like a timeout and the child somewhere that's safe so the adult can regulate their feelings. Well, my emotions were regulated, so I didn't need to put Ricky 2 in timeout, but I did a reset time. So
all right, Eugene is 1, 2, 3, and I calm down and I start this again.
Well, yeah, you got to that point because we did the counting at the end. So let me explain what reset time is, okay?
Okay.
So essentially, if Ricky 2 was 2 years old and let's say he was having a really big emotions, I would give him 2 minutes to have those emotions. So we had a special spot in the house. It was between the armoire and the stairs. And I would go to that spot with Ricky 2, and then we would have those big emotions together. Like if he needed to scream and kick his legs or what have you to express whatever emotion he was feeling, he had 2 minutes to do that. And sometimes he would use his whole 2 minutes, sometimes he didn't. But when 2 minutes expired, I would then do the counting. I was like 1, 2, 3. And then at the end of the
breath.
Then you would take a breath, and then I would hug you, and I would tell you it's okay. We have big emotions sometimes. Yeah. And then I would let him know that I'm always there with him, because during those big emotions, I stayed right there with him. I didn't separate myself from him. I was there, right there with him. Sometimes I'm like, I'm here, I'm right here, I'm not going anywhere. And then when we were done with those big emotions, we would then hug
and kiss.
And I would reaffirm that I was there for you.
And so you read a story sometimes.
Oh yeah, you do remember some of the things. And I would read a story sometime, and then we would then proceed about our day. And what that did, that gave Ricky 2 an opportunity to reset, because I could tell, at the time I didn't know he had autism, but I could tell that his emotions were getting so big that he would want to bring them down, because he really did want to go outside to the park or whatever we were about to do, but it would seem like they were just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So we had to reset so we could kind of start over again. So that worked for us. It's a strategy you could try. It might work for you as well. But one of the big things about it is that it kind of evolved with him as he grew up. So now it's to the point where I don't really count anymore because you're really good at regulating.
Yes.
But what would happen is as he got older, I would count. And so when you heard me say 1,
my brain's saying, oh, Ricky Two's up, mama's counting, let's go.
And by the time I got to 2,
I was like, Ricky Two, go faster, you don't want to go to 3.
You don't want to go to 3. So wherever he was trying to go, and I generally use it during transition, he would, just know his brain was kind of.
And now you count to like number 10 or something like that.
Oh, well, I would count to the number 10 when we were like maybe doing something, and I wanted you to do it expeditiously. I would then count to 10 so you would do it quickly instead of, like daydreaming and stuff.
Yeah.
But the 3, that was really just to get you to a place of start so that we can start a new activity, or we could do something, or you could stop doing something that was potentially, not a good decision.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you like picking at my face on the camera?
Sorry about that.
Well, with that, again, that's reset time, and we used it to mitigate meltdowns. He's fascinated with something in my hair or something on my face right now, so we're going to go so he can explore me further. With that, I hope that you got something from this. I know I did more talking than Ricky too this time, but do you have anything you want to say before we go?
All I want to say is do not manage your emotions.
Do not manage your emotions?
Manage your emotions. Make sure if you feel like you need to rage, just do it somewhere that's not in public.
Yeah. So go somewhere, let's say somewhere private so you can have your
somewhere
emotions.
private.
Yeah, you can go to the car and you can scream. I even do that sometimes. Sometimes my emotions get really big and I'll go to my car and I'll roll up the windows and I'll turn on the music and I will just scream because life is getting to be
Wait, when did you do that?
Well, I do that by myself. Like sometimes when life gets to be a little stressful, especially like during this COVID time, I've done it a couple times. I'll just get in my car, I'll roll up the windows, I'll turn on the music and I'll drive and I'll just scream, just let it all out. So I guess I had a reset time.
Oh wait, so but you mostly do it out here?
Yeah, I don't do it around you. I do. It's my private time.
Oh.
Yeah. You didn't know that, huh?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I do it too.
And sometimes when you're not here, if I feel stressed, I can just take a nap. Take a nap.
That's a good strategy too. I like sleep. So with that, we are going to say goodbye unless Ricky 2 has any more words of wisdom.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
So, when you scream, does people know that you're screaming?
No, I don't think anybody knows that I'm screaming when I'm screaming.
Or like do you scream continuously? There's wait a few seconds then scream.
No, what I'll do, I will get in the car, and I'm generally like on the highway or something, like right out here, and I will turn the music up pretty loudly, and then I'll just scream. Like, I'm not gonna scream like that now because I don't want our neighbors to think something's wrong, but I would just scream, and sometimes I'll scream to the point where my throat just feels scratchy, and sometimes I'll scream and I'll cry at the same time. But it's like everything's so big and I just have to let it out so that I can reset myself and just like it's
I think I remember telling the number in second grade that I really wanted to go to Pump It Up, right? But
yes, I remember that. That is something that made me very angry as a mother when I heard about that. So what Ricky 2 is referring to is that how we do reset time. This video is about to get a little longer.
Okay.
But I think this is a very important topic to talk about. When Ricky 2 was in the second grade, his dad and I are divorced, and we share custody. So sometimes his dad would pick him up and sometimes I would pick him up because we kind of go every other day. And he would go to Pump It Up all the time.
Only thing is,
school.
I wanted to get picked up. I didn't matter who picked me up. I just wanted to get picked up because if I took the bus, I would have left town because the bus takes a lot longer.
Right. Well, the reason why it was important about the days of picking up, because this was a day that I wasn't picking you up. It was a day that Dad was going to pick you up.
Oh.
So I was here, and I received a phone call from another parent at the school. And while I heard the phone call, while I was on the phone, I could hear someone screaming in the background. And the parent was telling me that I need to come to the school right away. Ricky too was at the school, and she did not like the way he was being handled by some of the staff members at the school. So, immediately I get into mama bear mode. By the time I get to the school, Ricky too is in the office, and he appears to be calm. So I don't really know or understand what is exactly taking place, and the school didn't give me a lot of information. So between talking to the parent and talking to Ricky too, the parent who observed, I was able to piece together what happened. So essentially, Ricky too was coming out of the school, and like he said, he didn't know if he was supposed to go on the bus or if he was going to have a parent pick him up that day, because his mind was focused on the fact that he really wanted to go to Pump It Up. And he knew that if one of us picked him up, then we will most likely take him from the school directly to Pump It Up.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've taught Ricky too to do when it comes to that self-regulation is that when he feels like he's getting overwhelmed, to just like sit down, to just, sit down, think about it, breathe, it'll be okay.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So why did that make you angry?
Well, it made me angry because I felt like the adults did not handle the situation well.
Oh.
So when Ricky too could not figure out which way he was supposed to go, and the bus people were saying like, move it on, go where you're supposed to go, Ricky too decided to, sit down and just kind of think about what he was supposed to do. Just kind of, he just stopped. And at this point, the guidance counselor was telling him, get up. And we're not going to say the guidance counselor's name, okay?
Okay.
Was telling him to get up or what have you. Or anyway, this entire event evolved to the point where the guidance counselor put his hands beneath Ricky too's arms, and I guess was trying to lift him up. And Ricky too resisted. And at that point, he got, more assertive in trying to lift my child up, and he further resisted. And at that point, it then goes into arms waving, legs waving, and Ricky too was screaming. At that point, that's when the parent called me. Ricky too had never been touched like that by his father. He had never been touched like that by me. So those were foreign touches to try to restrain my child. And also the part that really took me to the next level as a parent, especially as a parent of a black child, when I went to get Ricky too from the school, and when I was sitting at home explaining to his dad what had happened, the phone rung, and it was a special education teacher. And the special education teacher attempted to retell the events to me, and she used the word threatening. She said that at the time Ricky was like 8 years old. She said, and he was waving his hands in a threatening manner.
That made you angry inside.
Ooh, child, honey, Jesus, yes, Lord. That, I think I began to see red. Because many reasons. One, I don't like the word threatening attached to any child, especially a black person, especially a black male child. And then the word threatening actually attaches intent or emotion to behavior.
And I believe that the word threatening came from someone who was not black.
Yeah. And the guidance counselor was not black, and he said the word threatening about my son. With that, I'm an educator, so when I'm working with other educators, I tell them, and coach them and train them to speak from objective perspective. So that means you're really going to tell a parent what it is you're seeing. The child waved his arms about in an up and down manner when the guidance counselor attempted to do X, Y,
Yeah,
Z.
he should have said, they should have said up and down manner.
Right, up and down manner. Describe what you see, because you don't have insight into my child's brain to know what they're thinking or feeling.
But don't say threatening.
And don't say threatening, angrily, and all that. Those are things are speaking to someone's emotion, and they don't know you like that. So, with that, I then had to have a meeting with the principal, and for a while, I questioned whether or not the school was a safe environment for him, because I didn't feel as though they understood the magnitude of what had occurred. I don't think they understood the biases that existed in the special education's retelling, the special education teacher's retelling of that story. Because threatening is something that lives within her as an observer. You can't attach emotions or intent to another person's behavior.
Exactly.
So it had no place in that conversation. And from that point forward, she got the side eye from me, because I'm like, I don't know if she really know her job that well.
So, well, the video is like 21 minutes, so I'm going to have to cut it short.
Okay, so the video is 21. Well, it's long because you brought that part up, and I felt like it needed to be discussed. But again, it fell in line with self-regulation. So I appreciate that you were able to stay on topic, and that you knew that that was something like, hey, that was some self-regulatory skills that I was using, and someone interfered with that process. So with that, that was a lot of information. I hope some of it you were able to glean something that will be helpful to you and your family. So from our family to yours, we're going to say bye.